Okay, let's unpack this. I want you to picture a specific scene. You're on a movie set. It's gritty, it's violent, it's loud. There's a woman in the center of the frame getting absolutely pummeled by bad guys. I mean, just the stuffing kicked out of her. It's brutal.
That is a very intense image to start our deep dive with.
Stick with me here, because watching this happen just a few feet away is a 4-year-old girl. And she isn't crying. She's not traumatized. She's just sitting there, totally zen, eating a bag of gummy bears.
That is disturbingly specific, and I have a feeling I know who that 4-year-old is.
You got it. That little girl was Maya Hawke. She was on the set of Kill Bill, watching her mother, Uma Thurman, at work.
Wow.
And I think for most of us, when we hear the name Maya Hawke, that's the immediate mental shortcut our brains take. We think, oh, the daughter, the genetic splice of Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke.
It's the inevitable first thought. You honestly can't talk about her career without acknowledging that lineage. It's pure Hollywood royalty. But if we just stop there, we're missing the actual story.
Totally.
Today, our mission is to go a lot deeper than just gawking at the family tree. We want to figure out how she's navigated that whole family business label.
Exactly. Because looking at the stack of research you've pulled, she's made some very specific, very deliberate artistic choices, swinging between massive pop culture blockbusters and these, intimate, quiet indie records that tell a much more complex story than just famous kid gets famous.
And the timing for this discussion is, I think, key. It's February 15th, 2026. We're in a post-Stranger Things landscape. That show's finally wrapped. Her status in pop culture is solidified, and she's pivoting.
She's pivoting hard.
She has a wild new film, Wishful Thinking, premiering at SXSW next month. So we've got a huge stack of sources to go through. Reviews of her albums, Chaos Angel and MOSS, deep biographical profiles, the production notes from the final season of Stranger Things, and some really fascinating transcripts about the whole Nepo baby discourse.
Which we will definitely get to, because her take on that is surprisingly refreshing compared to her peers. But let's go back to the kid with the gummy bears.
Yeah.
Because you'd assume with that pedigree, her path to the screen was a straight shot.
Right. Red carpet rolled out, door open, here's your script.
But it wasn't exactly smooth sailing in the beginning, was it?
Not at all. And this is a crucial piece of context that often gets left out. Her early life was defined less by glamour and more by a significant painful struggle with dyslexia. It wasn't a minor hurdle. I mean, it was the defining feature of her education.
I read in the notes that she was actually kicked out of multiple schools.
Kicked out might be harsh, but she certainly didn't fit. She had to change elementary schools a lot because she just couldn't adhere to the traditional academic mold. She couldn't read fluently for a long time. And if you think about it...
Her parents are Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman.
Exactly. These are hyper-articulate literary people. Ethan Hawke writes novels. For a child in that environment to struggle with reading, that's going to create a massive amount of internal pressure.
It's the classic fish climbing a tree scenario. If you judge a fish by his ability to climb a tree, it's going to live its whole life believing it's stupid.
Precisely. And that's how she felt for a long time. Eventually, though, she landed at St. Anne's School in Brooklyn. And this is important context because St. Anne's is known for not having traditional grades. It emphasizes artistic sensibility over standardized testing.
So it was a space where she could actually thrive.
It allowed her to lean into creativity rather than feeling like a failure because she couldn't spell the correctly on the first try,
It's interesting, though, because despite being in that artistic incubator and the famous parents, the sources say she actually resisted acting for a long time.
She did. There was real hesitation. She didn't want to just join the family business by default. She wanted to be an English major.
But the pull was too strong.
The genetic pull is obviously strong. So eventually, she gives in and enrolls at Juilliard. And this part of the story, I think, gives us the best insight into her psychology. You'd think. Child of stars, gets into the most prestigious acting school in the world. She's got it made.
She's won the lottery. But instead of a victory lap, she had a total meltdown.
A massive one. And it's a story she tells that is so relatable, specifically if you've ever felt like a fraud. So rewind to just before she starts Juilliard. She's 18, and she models for a campaign for the British fashion brand All Saints.
Which makes sense. Her
Yeah.
mom started as a model. Is good money, good exposure, kind of like a summer job.
Exactly. But then she gets to Juilliard, and you have to understand the culture of Juilliard. In her mind, this is the temple of high art. It's about the craft, the rigor, the suffering for your work. It's the absolute opposite of selling out.
Oh no, I think I know where this is going.
So she walks in on day one, hoping to just be Maya the student, hoping to earn a clean slate.
And the All Saints campaign launches.
That very week, it is everywhere. It's popping up on all her classmates' phones, on their Instagram feeds. She's sitting in movement class, trying to be serious, and everyone is seeing her posing in a leather jacket for a global brand.
Oh, the cringe. I can physically feel the cringe from here. It's like showing up to a monastery in a neon suit.
She described it as a full-blown identity crisis. She felt this massive wave of shame, like she had walked into this temple of art representing pure commerce.
She thought everyone was looking at her thinking, oh, there's the rich celebrity kid playing model. She's not serious.
Right, which is such a harsh way to judge yourself at 18. But it really highlights that tension she feels. Art versus commerce. It seems to be the central theme of her career.
She clearly didn't stay at Juilliard long to work through it, though.
No, she dropped out after just 2 semesters. But, and this is the key nuance, she didn't drop out because she couldn't hack it. She left because she was offered the role of Jo March in the BBC's adaptation of Little Women.
Which is a huge role for a debut.
Yeah.
I mean, Jo March is the literary heroine for young women.
It is. But look at why she took it. The sources are really clear. She didn't take it just to be on TV. She took it because she identified so much with Jo March's struggle.
The drive to write, the love of language.
Exactly. Maya specifically said that Jo's story inspired her to overcome her own dyslexia. She felt she understood the character's fight to be heard.
So it wasn't just a job, it was personal. It was therapeutic.
It was deeply personal. Her way of proving to herself that she belonged in that world, not as a model, but as a storyteller.
So she leaves the ivory tower of Juilliard to jump into the practical world of acting. And that leads us inevitably to the role that changed everything. The phenomenon of Stranger Things.
Enter Robin Buckley.
The Scoops Ahoy uniform. I think she even called that sailor suit her superhero costume at one point. But what I didn't realize until we dug into these production notes is that the Robin we know, that frantic, rambling, awkward genius, wasn't the original plan.
That's right. And this is a great example of what makes her a specific talent. Originally, in the script, Robin was written to be a cool girl. She was supposed to be darker, cynical, almost a Madonna wannabe.
So like the intimidating older teen.
Exactly. But the Duffer Brothers, the show's creators, started watching Maya during breaks on set. They noticed her actual personality. She's a bit awkward. She's loquacious. She talks a mile a minute when she's nervous.
She has this frenetic energy.
Right. And they realized that was way more interesting than the cool girl trope. So they rewrote the character mid-season to fit Maya rather than forcing Maya to fit the archetype.
That pivot makes so much sense when you watch the show. Robin feels so authentic because she's basically Maya turned up to 11. But the biggest pivot, and this is the one that had the massive cultural impact, was her sexuality.
It is fascinating to look back at the timeline of that decision. It wasn't planned from day one. In the earlier drafts, Robin was supposed to end up with Steve Harrington.
The classic cool guy gets the quirky girl romance.
Exactly. But around episode 4 or 5 of season 3, while they were filming, the decision was made to change course. And Maya was part of that decision.
She was part of that conversation.
She was. She felt the chemistry wasn't romantic. It was something else. It was familial. And she has spoken about how profound that coming out scene was.
That's the scene on the bathroom floor in the hall. After the truth serum.
Exactly. And Maya pointed out something really astute about the filmmaking there. Think about the context. Stranger Things is a massive blockbuster. It has monsters, Russians, explosions. It moves at a breakneck pace.
Right.
But for that scene, the show literally stops. It halts the action completely for a 7-minute, quiet, intimate conversation between 2 people on a bathroom floor.
It's true. In a show about saving the world, the stakes suddenly become just. Will my friend accept me?
And that paved the way for her relationship with Steve. Maya has been very vocal about how refreshing it is to see a man and a woman on screen who are platonic soulmates.
It breaks that tired Hollywood trope that men and women can't just be friends.
Right. And looking at the notes on season 5, which we now know was the end of the road, that arc really paid off. I'm looking at the character summary here. Robin Buckley taking over the radio station. Rockin' Robin.
Huh. I love that.
It's a great evolution, isn't it? She goes from the girl hiding in the back of the ice cream shop to the literal voice of the resistance. But what stands out to me in the season 5 analysis is her mentorship of Will Byers.
Yes. That scene where she helps him find self-acceptance. It felt like the writers were drawing a direct line between her season 3 journey and Will's journey.
They absolutely were. It brings her journey full circle. She uses her own experience, her own terrifying moment of coming out to Steve to guide Will. It transforms her from the new kid in the group to a vital emotional anchor.
So she conquers TV. She becomes a Gen Z icon. But we mentioned earlier that she has this art versus commerce struggle, this Juilliard guilt. And it feels like her music career is where she really tries to satisfy the art side of that equation.
Definitely. If Stranger Things is the pop culture blockbuster, her albums are the intimate, handwritten diaries. We're looking at her albums MOSS from 2022 and Chaos Angel from 2024.
The vibe is very specific. I was listening to it while prepping, and it's very hushed, very acoustic. It draws a lot of comparisons to Taylor Swift's Folklore, right?
Very much so. She even worked at Long Pond Studios, which is famously where Swift recorded Folklore. But while the sonic palette is similar, soft guitars, breathy vocals, the themes are surprisingly heavy. This isn't bubblegum pop.
Yeah, I was reading the lyrics for Missing Out from Chaos Angel. There's a real bitterness there. She sings about being a drunk hanger-on and hitting on the younger guy. It's this idea that she, missed out on being a normal, messy 20-something.
It captures that specific weariness of someone who grew up too fast. She's watching her peers have these messy college experiences while she's in a trailer learning lines. But the song that really hit me in the research, and the one critics point to as her songwriting peak, is Driver from MOSS.
Oh, that one is a tearjerker.
It's so vulnerable. She's juxtaposing her own romantic life with her parents' divorce. She's sitting in the back of a car, watching her parents and wishing she could fix it. And there's this one lyric.
I'd give everything I'll ever have to see them happy.
Oh, yeah. That stops you in your tracks. I'd give everything I'll ever have. She is explicitly referencing her wish that her parents, Uma and Ethan, had stayed together. That is a heavy thing to put out into the world.
Especially when your parents are two of the most famous people on the planet.
It is incredibly brave. And I think it shows why she pursues music. In acting, she's a character. In Stranger Things, she's Robin. But in music, she's Maya. She gets to control the narrative.
And how has the reception been? Because usually, actor turned musician is a genre that gets a lot of eye rolls.
Critics have been surprisingly kind, but they have noted a dichotomy. You have this brilliant, raw songwriting, but sometimes it gets overshadowed by the production. One review we looked at noted that some tracks, like Better, felt a bit overproduced, a bit cluttered. But then you have a track like Dark or Driver, where the production strips back and that emotion just shines.
So she's still figuring out that balance.
Yeah.
But her willingness to put that family trauma into the music brings us to the topic we cannot avoid. We have to talk about it, the Nepo baby discourse.
The elephant in the room. You can't do a deep dive on Maya Hawke without addressing it.
It's unavoidable. And honestly, usually when I hear celebrities talk about this, I cringe. You get people saying, well, I work hard too, or it's actually harder for me. They get defensive. But looking at these transcripts, Maya's approach feels different.
It is distinct, and the sources really highlight this. To give you some context, think about someone like Zoe Kravitz. She compared being in Hollywood to a family of blacksmiths. She said essentially, if your dad was a blacksmith and you became a blacksmith, nobody would care.
Which, sure, logically, maybe.
No.
But blacksmiths don't have millions of dollars in agents on speed dial. It feels tone deaf.
Exactly. It ignores the massive systemic advantage. And then you have Jamie Lee Curtis writing posts defending the right to exist. But Maya takes a stance that one source described as comfortable with not deserving it.
Comfortable with not deserving it. That is a bold thing to say. Let's unpack that.
She essentially argues that she knows the game is rigged. She knows she could change her name, get a nose job. It wouldn't change the reality of her connections. She told one interviewer, I know I have this luck. I know I might not deserve it, but I'm going to do the work anyway.
That feels so much more honest. And she even corrected the record on a specific casting story, right? The Once Upon a Time in Hollywood role.
She did, and this is a key moment of self-awareness. Originally, when she got the part in Tarantino's movie, she had implied that she auditioned just like everyone else.
Which is the standard Hollywood line. I stood in line just like you.
Right. But later, she circled back and clarified. She admitted, no, actually, she didn't send a tape to a casting director. She auditioned in her bedroom with her dad, Ethan Hawke, and then she got the call directly from Quentin Tarantino.
Oof. Admitting that takes guts, though, because that is the definition of nepotism.
It is. Tarantino has worked with both her parents for decades. It's the ultimate friends and family hire. But by owning it, by admitting she's in what she calls rarefied air and that it's okay if people make fun of her for it, she diffuses the anger.
She isn't trying to gaslight the audience into thinking she struggled. She's saying, yes, I won the lottery. Now watch what I do with the winnings.
It's a fascinating strategy. It's almost like by surrendering the argument, she wins it. She's not fighting for validation of her struggle, only validation of her output.
Precisely. And that brings us to the output right now.
Yeah.
Because it's February 2026, and she's using those winnings to make some very weird, very cool stuff. She has a film premiering at SXSW in March called Wishful Thinking.
Oh, this premise sounds absolutely wild.
I saw the trailer. It's with Louis Pullman, right?
Yes. It's being billed as a sci-fi rom-com, but that label doesn't really do it justice. Maya plays Julia, a game designer. She and her partner attend this trendy therapy seminar, and it triggers a karmic universal system.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Very weird. The conceit is that their relationship problems literally start causing natural disasters. Like, if they have a petty argument about the dishes, there's a localized earthquake.
Ooh.
Or if they break up, the stock market crashes.
Talk about high-stakes dating. Honey, please don't be mad. You're going to cause a tsunami.
It sounds like a really fun, chaotic role, which fits her niche perfectly. But we should also mention she's coming off a huge win in animation, which proves she's not just a face.
Inside Out 2.
Yes. She voiced the new emotion, anxiety.
Which was just perfect casting. I mean, if you look at Robin Buckley and you look at her public persona, she has become the avatar for a certain type of anxious energy.
It really was. The film got a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, and her performance was singled out in almost every review. It proves she has the vocal acting chops to carry a major franchise. She made anxiety feel sympathetic.
She made you want to hug her. So looking at all of this, the Stranger Things icon, the indie musician bearing her soul, the voice of anxiety, the sci-fi rom-com lead, what's the big takeaway from Maya Hawke's career so far?
I think the takeaway here is about synthesis and utilizing your advantages. Maya Hawke could have easily just coasted. She could have been a generic it girl, modeled for a few years, played the hot love interest, and cashed the checks.
She had the entry card to do that, but she didn't. She made Robin weird. She made her music painfully personal.
Exactly. She took the massive access she was given and used it to pivot into very distinct personal storytelling. She used the Nepo Baby platform to tell stories about insecurity, about family trauma, about not fitting in.
She took the privilege and used it to be vulnerable, rather than using it to build a wall of coolness.
That's the perfect way to put it. She isn't hiding behind the curtain. She's opening it up and showing you the messy backstage.
It's funny looking back at that deserves comment, being comfortable with not deserving it. It leaves me with a final question for everyone listening. In an era where authenticity is the ultimate currency, does admitting you have an unfair advantage actually make you more authentic than someone who pretends they don't?
Do we trust her more because she isn't trying to trick us?
Right.
That is the provocative thought, isn't it? Honesty about your privilege might be the most valuable thing you can offer an audience today. It creates a contract of trust. I won't lie to you about how I got here if you just listen to what I have to say.
Well, if you want to judge the authenticity for yourself, go stream the song Driver. But maybe grab a tissue first, seriously. Or keep an eye out for the wishful thinking reviews coming out of SXSW next month.
Definitely worth a listen and a watch.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.